Have you ever felt like the world is moving at 1,000 miles an hour while you're still in the same place? It's no coincidence that you're hearing this today, because that feeling of being late has a deep spiritual explanation. Today we're going to debunk that lie that tells you you missed your chance. Stay with me until the end, because what you are about to discover will change the way you see your present and your future. This message is the clarity your soul has been seeking to stop comparing yourself and start moving forward. Sometimes the pressure of seeing others achieve their goals makes us feel like we're sitting on the sidelines, watching their success slip away. I want you to take a deep breath and let go of that weight. You're not late. You're simply walking along a timeline you hadn't considered until now. The timeline of your personal purpose. There are two ways to measure time in this life. The first is the world's clock, the one that compares you to the achievements of others and tells you that by a certain age, you should have it all figured out. That clock will always make you feel indebted. But there's another measure, one much wiser and more precise, which is a time of divine guidance for your life's mission. From that perspective, you are exactly where you need to be for what's to come. Every door that closed was a rejection. It was a way of protecting you. Every year you felt like you weren't progressing was actually a time of inner growth. You were building the foundation for something you'll soon need. The real risk isn't going slowly, but continuing to look at the wrong clock and losing sight of the door opening right in front of you this very moment. It's time to recalibrate your vision and accept that nothing that's truly meant for you has been lost. To move forward with confidence, we must first understand what's truly holding us back. Let me ask you a direct question. What exactly do you feel you're falling behind on? Think about it calmly. Many of us walk with a heavy burden in our chests, but when we try to define it, we can't quite put our finger on it. It's simply a feeling of, I should be further away. Is it about your professional life? Perhaps you thought that by 30 or 40 you would already have that position, or that stability that would give you peace. Or is it the area of your affections? Maybe you look around and see families being formed, while you continue on a seemingly endless search, wondering what you're doing wrong. It might even be that personal project, that idea that's been tucked away in a drawer for years because you feel it's too late or that you lack the necessary resources. Seeing others move forward and share their successes on social media makes the silence in your own life feel even stronger. But let me tell you something. That feeling isn't a sign of your faith. It's a symptom of constant comparison that's draining your energy. When you can't define where you're going, you end up running on a treadmill. You get exhausted, you sweat, and you push yourself, but you're still in the same place. It's not that you lack time. It's that the noise of other people's achievements has made you lose your own direction. Imagine it's 11 o'clock at night. You're looking at your phone screen, and a photo pops up of an acquaintance who just bought a house, or someone who started an amazing social project. In that instant, you feel a tightness in your chest, a knot that whispers that the train has already left and you're stuck at the station. But who set those deadlines? Who said success has a fixed timeline that's the same for everyone? Those standards were set by society or family expectations, but they have nothing to do with your original plan. You're comparing the beginning of your process with someone else's final result. You're seeing someone else's harvest while you're still preparing the soil, and you're calling yourself a failure because the fruits aren't visible yet. That comparison is what's robbing you of your peace and confidence. You're not late. You're simply running a different race, with a unique purpose that requires its own pace of development. Write in the comments, I accept my process and trust my path. Are you truly short on time, or has the fear of not fitting in paralyzed you? There's a huge difference between moving at a different pace and being stuck by choice. Understanding this is what will allow you to stop being a spectator and become the protagonist of your own story. It's vital that we understand something today. Being late means you're moving toward your goal, even if it's at a slower pace than you'd like. But being stuck is something else entirely. It means there's no movement at all. And if we're honest, many times the feeling of being late is actually a paralysis we've accepted ourselves. Look back. If you're in the same place today as last year, with the same doubts, the same unfinished projects, and the same frustrations, it's not for lack of opportunities. It's because you've convinced yourself that the train has already left the station and that there's no point in trying. That thought becomes a shadow that follows you everywhere. When you see an open door, instead of walking through it, you tell yourself that you're not qualified, that you're too old, or that someone younger and more prepared will take the job. That voice that tells you it's too late is the biggest obstacle to your progress. It's a belief that keeps you in a seemingly safe zone, but which is actually a prison. The real danger isn't delay. The real danger is remaining paralyzed for fear that your moment has passed. Remember that you can recover from any delay, but you only break free from stagnation when you decide to take a step, even with fear weighing you down. Now, let's delve into the true root of why you feel this way. It's not because you've wasted your life or made the wrong choices, nor is it that life has been unkind to you. The problem is that you're operating on the wrong frequency. Our minds function like radios that can tune into different stations. There's one frequency that represents the everyday world: stress, urgency, bills, and survival. It's necessary for navigating daily life. But if you're trapped there, you become unable to hear the spiritual guidance you need. In that constant state of alert, you try to force things instead of flowing with them. You try to produce under pressure instead of receiving with gratitude. The system we live in wants you to stay on that anxious frequency because stressed people are easier to influence. However, higher frequencies exist, those of intuition, creativity, and direct connection to the divine. That's where true change happens, where brilliant ideas emerge, and where you can see opportunities that others overlook. As a child, you naturally lived in a harmony of wonder and faith. But as you grew up, the world trained you to suppress it. You were taught to follow rigid rules, to value only external productivity, and to ignore your inner voice in order to simply survive the day. That's why you feel lost. You're trying to measure a spiritual purpose by the material standards of immediate success. Comment right now: I choose to trust in life's perfect timing. If we look at the great stories of faith and purpose, we see that the human concept of late doesn't exist for higher wisdom. Consider Moses. He didn't begin his true mission until he was 80 years old. By any modern standard, that's a lifetime late. But that time in the desert wasn't wasted. It was a necessary period to adjust his inner self and prepare him for what was to come. David was chosen to be king as a teenager, but 14 years of trials, escapes, and hiding in caves passed before he ascended the throne. Joseph spent 13 years between dreaming of greatness and its fulfillment, enduring betrayals and imprisonment. What seemed like an unfair delay was, in reality, a profound test of his character. Each of them had to undergo a process of inner transformation to rise to the occasion of their responsibility. What you call lost time to celestial guidance is training time. You are not behind. You are being shaped so that when your time comes, you will have the strength and wisdom to hold what you are about to receive. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with someone who needs to regain hope today. Your support allows us to continue sharing light and guidance with more people who, like you, are seeking a path of faith and purpose. What we must understand is that divine wisdom doesn't measure years as we do. It measures our inner readiness. It's not just about how many books you've read or what skills you've developed, but about the frequency at which your spirit is vibrating. If you feel like you're running late today, it's not because the train has left the station, but because you're trying to force your purpose using the world's frequency, the frequency of stress and haste. That spiritual oil, that unique calling you carry within, cannot manifest if your mind is trapped in the noise of survival. There is an urgency, but it's not an urgency of time, but of alignment. You are about to enter a stage that demands you be in tune with the higher realms, and you will not be able to sustain the new if you continue operating under the fear that has kept you stuck until now. Sometimes we think that to recover lost time we need years of extreme sacrifice, but the reality is that change begins with a small adjustment in our perception. Science and spirituality agree on one thing: our brain has capacity to disconnect from external noise to enter a state of profound clarity. Ancient masters achieved this after hours of silence and prayer, seeking that peace that surpasses all understanding. Today, the world has conditioned us to always be on high alert, which blocks our intuition and our ability to receive divine guidance. However, when you manage to quiet that noise, even for just a few minutes a day, you allow your original design to emerge. You're not learning anything you didn't already know. You're simply peeling back the layers of social conditioning that made you forget your own inner light. Imagine what happens when you stop pushing closed doors and start walking with ease. By adjusting your internal rhythm, you stop working under the pressure of exhaustion and begin acting from inspiration. It's not about pushing harder, but about aligning yourself better. When your internal frequency shifts, your external reality has no choice but to follow that rhythm. Write in the comments, "My mind is at peace and my path is clear." To break free from paralysis and enter your true timeline, there are 3 possible paths. The one you choose will depend on your current situation, but they all lead to the same destination: freedom. The first path is the activation of the quantum leap. This path is for those who have already spent years preparing in silence. You know who you are. You have healed past wounds, learned the difficult lessons, and been in the desert long enough. Your problem is not that you are not ready, but that you are waiting for permission that has already been granted to you. You're waiting for all the signs to be perfect or for someone to tell you it's safe to move forward. The quantum leap requires you to move today, not recklessly, but with the confidence of someone who knows the waiting is over. Analysis paralysis is the only thing separating you from your new reality. This first path is for those who have spent too much time in theory. It's time to take that step you've been avoiding with reasonable excuses. Perhaps it's that conversation you keep postponing, that project you've been researching for 3 years without launching, or that opportunity you haven't applied for because you feel you need another certification. To activate this path, you don't need to do 10 things at once. Identify a single action, the one that makes your stomach flutter just thinking about it, the one that seems too risky or leaves you too exposed. Right there, precisely there, is where your growth lies. Whether it's changing your work environment, seeking out that mentor who intimidates you, or ending a situation that no longer aligns with your peace of mind, you already know what it is. To make this leap, I propose 3 fundamental steps. Name it. Say out loud, right now, what you've been avoiding. Listening to your own voice breaks the cycle of self-doubt and prepares your will. Unmask the lie. Identify the excuse that's holding you back. Is it a lack of resources? Is it feeling too young or inexperienced? Give a name to that limitation you've imposed on yourself. Embrace the truth. The reality is that you don't need to be 100% ready. You only need to be 100% willing. The path clears as you walk, not before you begin. Spiritual support comes when you take the step of obedience, because true ability develops through action. Don't wait until next month. This week, take tangible action. A message, a call, or a firm decision. Big changes don't happen when conditions are ideal, but when your decision meets the right moment. This path is for those who are already moving forward, but feel they aren't progressing because they're using the wrong yardstick to measure their lives. Your problem isn't a lack of action, but a distorted perspective. You're so focused on comparing your beginning to someone else's peak that you're unable to recognize your own everyday miracles. If this resonates with you, your task isn't to run faster. Your task is to change the lens through which you view your reality. You need to stop measuring your worth based on others' timelines and start honoring the unique rhythm you've been given. Redesigning your timeline means letting go of the burden of competition and embracing the peace of knowing your process is personalized and perfectly suited to who you're meant to be. Write in the comments, "I walk at my own pace and with total confidence." We must understand a liberating truth. The person you compare yourself to is not your competition. They aren't even running the same race as you. They have a different mission, a different preparation process, and a destiny that isn't yours. You're observing their harvest and feeling bad because your seeds are still underground. But have you stopped to consider that perhaps your seeds were planted later because they will bear much greater fruit? What if your pace is slower because your foundation needs to be more solid? What you interpret today as a delay may actually be a protective measure to prevent you from exposing yourself before you have the necessary maturity to handle what's coming. To apply this perspective redesign, I propose this exercise in honesty. Identify the source, make a mental list or write it down, of 5 people who make you feel behind. Don't judge yourself for feeling this way. It's human, but name them. Question the desire. For each of those people, ask yourself, do I really want their entire life, or do I just want their results? Comparison is deceptive. It makes you desire someone else's success without considering the sacrifice behind it. Perhaps you want their recognition, but not their sleepless nights or personal crises. If you wouldn't trade your entire life for theirs, then their timeline shouldn't be your measure. Find value in waiting. Identify 3 positive things that have happened to you during this delay that wouldn't have occurred if everything had been fast. Perhaps you met someone key, developed a skill, or healed an emotional wound that would have devastated you if success had come sooner. Define your own success. Stop using other people's definitions. What does living fulfilling life mean to you in your context and with your values? Be specific. Once you define it, measure yourself only against that goal, not against other people's perfect posts. When you make this change, something shifts inside you. You stop feeling like you're late to the party and start feeling in sync. The change isn't that success arrives faster, but that you realize it's already happening in your own story. You just were looking for it in someone else's book. Comment with faith. I honor my path and trust in my own timing. If you feel this message is bringing you back to peace and clarity you've lost, now is the time to connect with you. I invite you to subscribe to our channel so we can continue walking together on this journey of renewal. Like this video if it has helped you see your life with more love, and share it with that friend or family member who always feels pressured by the success of others. Your support helps us bring this light to those who need it most. This path is for those who aren't paralyzed or lost in comparison, but rather trapped by impatience. You know you're on the right track and feel that something big is brewing, but you're frustrated that it's not happening as quickly as you'd like. That anxiety to accelerate results is robbing you of the joy of the present. If you feel this way, the problem isn't time but trust. You're trying to manage a process that isn't yours to handle, trying to rush what needs to mature slowly. Divine timing isn't about waiting passively, but about learning to wait with purpose. It's an active and expectant waiting that strengthens your character and deepens your faith. We must accept that higher timings are neither linear nor predictable, but they are always precise. When you look back, you understand why certain doors didn't open and how that waiting period protected you. However, in the heat of the moment, the waiting feels like a punishment or being forgotten. Nothing could be further from the truth. To enter this flow of divine synchronicity, I suggest these steps. Change the when to the what. Stop asking when your moment will arrive and start asking, what should I learn at this stage? What character trait is being strengthened today? Remember that the door won't open because of your external merits, but when your inner maturity is capable of supporting what lies on the other side. Be grateful in the gap. Practice gratitude for what you have today, not for what you expect tomorrow. Be grateful for the progress that is still unseen and for the protection of the paths that didn't materialize. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance almost immediately. Design a productive waiting strategy. Ask yourself how you can be helpful and grow while you wait for the big change. If you're waiting for a new job opportunity, hone your skills now. If you're seeking a deep personal connection, first become the person you aspire to find. Don't waste your waiting time. Make it an investment in your future. Write in the comments, I fully trust in the perfect order of my life. Remember that this message isn't just meant to be heard, but to be lived. If you feel these words are giving new meaning to your current situation, I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming reflections we have prepared for you. Like this video if you decide to let go of impatience today, and share this content with someone who needs a break amidst their own waiting. Your interaction is what allows this community of hope to continue growing. When that door finally opens before you, ideally you should walk through it with your head held high, fully prepared, and not with the regret of having wasted your time observing others' achievements through a screen. You already know the 3 paths: the leap of action, the redesign of your perspective, and divine synchronicity. How do you know which path is yours today? If you feel paralyzed and avoid that one thing you know you must do, your path is a leap of action. If you feel behind and punish yourself by comparing yourself to others, you need the redesign of your perspective. And if you're frustrated because you feel things aren't moving at the pace you want, your path is divine synchronicity. You may need a little of each at different stages of your life, but right now, your spirit already knows the priority. Trust that intuition. However, knowing the way is one thing, and walking is another. There are predictable obstacles that will appear as soon as you start moving, and I want to prepare you so they don't derail you. The first obstacle is that inner voice that arises the moment you decide to act. It sounds like your own voice, but it isn't. It's fear disguised as prudence. If you decide to take the leap, it will say, "Who do you think you are? You're just going to make a fool of yourself." If you try to reframe your perspective, it will whisper, "What if you're just making excuses because you've actually failed?" And if you choose divine timing, it will question you. "How long are you going to wait? Maybe this isn't even meant for you." That voice is simply your nervous system trying to keep you in the familiar, in the safe zone. It's not inherently bad. It's your mind reacting to the limits of your comfort zone. The key is understanding that this voice will never completely disappear. Even the most successful people hear it. They've just learned not to let it take the reins of their lives. The goal isn't to silence it by force, but to acknowledge it. When it appears, don't argue with it. Simply say, "Thank you for trying to protect me. I understand you're afraid, but I'm going to move forward anyway." And take a step, just one, because courage isn't the absence of fear, but moving forward hand in hand with fear. The second obstacle is the pull back. It's a curious phenomenon. As soon as you begin to make progress, you'll feel an almost gravitational force trying to pull you back to your old habits, your old doubts, and the comfort of the familiar, even if that familiarity makes you unhappy. This is where consistency becomes your greatest ally. Don't be alarmed if you feel the urge to backtrack. It's a sign that you're truly stepping out of your comfort zone and moving closer to your true timeline. Write in the comments, "I am brave, and I move forward with a firm step." It's curious. You can leave that draining environment, and 3 weeks later, you'll start to miss the routine and security it provided, even if you previously hated it. You can end a complicated personal situation, and over time, your mind will begin to soften the memories, making you forget why you decided to leave. This phenomenon is completely normal. It's not a sign that you made a mistake. It's your nervous system grieving for your former identity. Even though that previous version of you suffered, it was familiar, and our minds often prefer known pain to the uncertainty of new growth. When you feel that urge to return to the past, don't feel guilty. Recognize it for what it is, a stage of saying goodbye, not a guide to your future. Your old life is mourning its departure, but you must move on. If you decide to backtrack at this point, you won't return to the same place. You'll return with a reinforced belief that you can't sustain the change, and that becomes a heavy burden on your confidence. When you feel that gravity try and pull you back to the past, take a deep breath, remember your reasons, and stand firm in your decision. The third major obstacle is the test. The moment you commit to your new path, a challenge will appear. It's not a punishment. It's life confirming whether your decision is genuine. If you decide to take a leap of faith, you'll likely encounter a technical glitch or someone will withdraw their support right at the start. Many say, "I knew it was too good to be true. It's a sign I should stop." But it's not. It's an invitation to see if you can adapt instead of panicking. If you focus on redesigning your perspective, just when you decide to stop comparing yourself to others, someone close to you will post an amazing achievement. This is a sign that your effort to change your mindset isn't working. It's the moment to apply what you've learned and validate your own process without looking to others. And if you choose divine synchronicity, there will be days when the weight feels endless and heavier than ever. It is a final test, the darkest moment just before the sun rises. Every story of overcoming adversity and faith in humanity shows that the greatest challenge appears right after saying yes to change. Write in the comments, "My will is strong and I overcome every test." Every step you take toward your transformation matters, and you don't have to do it alone. If this message is giving you the tools to identify those obstacles and not give up, I invite you to become an active member of this community. Subscribe now to receive ongoing guidance on your journey. Give us a like to let us know this content is helpful, and share this reflection with someone who's about to throw in the towel. Together we are stronger in the face of any challenge. Think about the great figures of faith. Abraham was promised a vast number of descendants, and shortly afterward, he faced the most difficult trial of his life. Moses accepted his mission, and immediately, conditions for his people became harsher. David was anointed to be king, and ended up living for years as a fugitive in caves. The test is not a punishment. It's confirmation of your maturity. It's the filter that separates fleeting excitement from true commitment. When a challenge appears in your path, don't see it as a stop sign, but as a speed bump. It forces you to evaluate, adjust your strategy, and strengthen your pace, but never to abandon the race. Overcoming this obstacle demonstrates to yourself and to life itself that you mean business. If you feel you have applied these principles and the outlook remains the same, it's time to do an honest check of 3 fundamental points. Real action or mental rehearsal. There's a world of difference between thinking about doing something and actually doing it. Your mind can trick you, giving you a false sense of progress just because you've given a lot of thought to a change. Thinking about sending that email isn't the same as sending it. Imagining your new project isn't the same as launching it. Review your steps. Did you take the physical step, or did you just stay in the mental rehearsal phase? Transformation requires concrete actions. The trap of immediacy. Most profound changes follow the law of sowing. When you plant a seed in the ground, the most important work happens beneath the surface, where no one sees it. If you made a decision 2 weeks ago and haven't seen results yet, it doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means the root is growing. Don't stop nurturing your faith just because the sprout hasn't yet emerged. The ability to sustain what you ask for. This is the most profound reflection. Sometimes, delay isn't refusal, but a gesture of care. Do you truly possess the character, emotional stability, or tools to handle that responsibility you so deeply desire? If success would come to you tomorrow, would it bless you or destroy you due to a lack of preparation? If the answer is that there are still areas to refine, then waiting is your best ally in becoming the person capable of sustaining that blessing. She says honestly, I prepare myself patiently to receive the best. We're delving deeper into the reasons why your life is about to take a turn, and I'm so glad you're still here. If this analysis is helping you see that your process has a logical and spiritual purpose, subscribe so you don't miss a conclusion of this guide. Like this post if you've identified something you need to adjust in your journey today, and share this reflection with someone who feels frustrated by the apparent lack of results. Your active participation is what allows us to continue creating content that transforms lives. To move forward, we must confront an uncomfortable truth. There's a part of you that subconsciously fears success. Although it may seem contradictory, victory carries a burden of responsibility and visibility that can be intimidating. Perhaps you have become so accustomed to the identity of someone waiting their turn or fighting against the current that you don't know who you would be if that struggle were to end. Success means you can no longer hide behind excuses. It means the world will start expecting results from you, and you'll have to stand by what you build. Sometimes, out of fear of this new reality, we sabotage our own progress right before we reach the finish line. We create unnecessary conflicts, get distracted by secondary problems, or simply give up when change is just around the corner. If you notice this pattern in your life, don't beat yourself up. That part of you that's afraid to shine is just a version of your past that learned that standing out was risky. Instead of fighting that fear, accept it with compassion. Tell that inner voice, I understand you're scared, but today we're safe and can handle whatever comes. Growth isn't about eliminating fear, but about embracing it as you keep moving forward. Now, I want this message to move beyond mere information and become a real transformation in your life. If you can close your eyes for a moment or simply turn your attention inward, let's seal this commitment to your purpose. We sincerely appreciate every stage of the journey. Thank you for the years that seemed lost, but which were actually years of quiet growth. Thank you for every door that remained closed, for now we understand that it was a way of protecting us from paths that were not right for us. We value every moment of waiting, because today we know that it was not a punishment, but rather preparation to position ourselves exactly where we need to be. Thank you for supporting us when we felt invisible and for giving us the strength to keep going when we thought we were alone. This is the moment to recognize that our story has a profound meaning and that nothing has been in vain. Write in the comments, I am grateful for my past and I bless my future. Each reflection we've shared today is intended to give you back control over your own timeline. If you feel this message has resonated deeply with you, I invite you to formally join our community. Subscribe so you don't miss a conclusion of this powerful guide. Give us a like as a symbol of your commitment to your own growth. And share this video with someone who needs to know their waiting time is almost over. Your support is essential for us to continue spreading this message of hope and faith. We are grateful for this moment of clarity, for for this rediscovery of the truth you have forgotten. We acknowledge every tear shed in the early hours, every doubt about whether you had missed your chance, and every moment when comparison stole your peace. I know there have been times when you wanted to give up, but here you are, and that speaks of an unbreakable inner strength. I want you to know something important. There is no disappointment in your journey. On the contrary, there is profound respect for your persistence. You have continued to believe even when everything around you seemed to be falling apart. You have maintained your faith when the silence was deafening. That courage has not gone unnoticed. Your effort to seek guidance and clarity today is the first step toward a different reality. This is the moment to let go. We release the lie that you're late. We free ourselves from the heavy burden of comparing ourselves to others and the guilt over the years that, in your mind, were wasted. We release the fear that opportunities are gone forever. It's time to break the agreement with that voice that tells you you're not enough, that you're not ready, or that you don't have the courage. We relinquish the need to have all the answers before taking the first step. You don't need to see the whole staircase to start climbing. You only need to trust the step in front of you. We also release the need for approval from people who don't know your purpose or your path. We simply let go so we can move forward lightly. Now, let's move on to internal action. We activate that leap of action for those who have already completed their preparation time. May the doors you've been observing from afar open, and may you find the courage to walk through them this week. We attract the right connections and opportunities that have been waiting for you to be ready to receive them. We're activating perspective redesign for those who have been measuring their lives by the wrong yardstick. May you receive a new vision today to value your own achievements, your real progress, and the beauty of your unique story. May your ability to celebrate where you are today be restored as you walk joyfully toward where you're going. We activate divine synchronicity for those learning the art of purposeful waiting. May you find peace in pauses and productivity in moments of calm. May patience become your greatest strength, understanding that a delay is not a refusal, but preparation for something greater. We attune your inner self to the frequency of intuition and clarity so that you recognize your exact moment as soon as it presents itself. Write in the comments, I activate my purpose and flow with life. We are reaching the final stages of this renewal process. If you feel that this call to action and liberation resonates with your reality, I invite you to secure your place in our community. Subscribe now so you don't miss the conclusion of this script. Like this post is a sign that you accept this new stage of your life, and share this message with someone who needs to activate their faith today. Today we establish a firm resolve for your path. Any intention of distraction, confusion, or discouragement that tries to hinder your progress is canceled. Those voices that suggested you had misheard or that you should turn back lose all authority over your decisions. There is now renewed protection over your mind and heart, allowing you to take steps with a confidence you never knew existed. What has begun within you will reach its conclusion. No obstacles can prevail against this new stage of your life. You are not late. You are arriving at the perfect time. The door is not only before you, but the path to it has been cleared of all obstacles. You are a person chosen for a purpose, not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to be guided and transformed from within. From this moment on, your frequency shifts. Repeat to yourself a conviction. I am moving forward with a firm step. I am operating at the frequency of peace and clarity. My ears are attentive to the guidance I need, and I walk confidently through the door that is opened. My timing is perfect. I am ready now. What was blocked now flows. What seemed closed now reveals its openness. This isn't due to exhausting willpower, but rather a natural alignment with your original design. We accept this reality and walk in it from this very moment. You can open your eyes to a new reality. You surely feel that change within you, even if you haven't yet found the exact words to describe it. The person who began listening to this reflection, the one who fell behind or believed they had missed their chance, no longer exists. That burden no longer belongs to you. When you leave this space for reflection, you don't need to have the complete map of the next 10 years. You just need to take the next right step. Just one. It doesn't have to be a spectacular move, nor does it have to resemble anyone else's. It just has to be honest and yours. Perhaps it's making that decision you've been putting off, or simply choosing to believe, once and for all, that your time is now. You're not alone in this. You're part of a community of people who have felt the same way and are now discovering that the delay was an illusion. By taking action, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage to walk through your own door is the signal someone else is waiting for to walk through theirs. Write in the comments on making that declaration is a gesture that moves you from being a passive listener to being protagonist of your own change. It tells your own mind that you're no longer just inspired, but that you're in motion. Always remember, you weren't late. You were just on the wrong frequency. Today, you've turned the dial and found the station you were looking for. Everything you thought was lost was waiting for you, right at the point where you finally found yourself. Trust your process, trust your rhythm, and walk toward your victory. If this message has transformed your perspective, we invite you to subscribe to our channel to continue receiving light on your path. Like this video to confirm you've received it and share it with 3 people who need a reminder that their time is now. Your action today multiplies the hope of tomorrow.